Whew, okay, so I hope that all of you out there are still okay. I'm really rattled after, all that gameplay. That's actually the longest single sitting that I've ever played this game. And it's not because it's horrendous and a piece of shit, but it's just because it's so scary and atmospheric, and I just get so engrossed in it. Every time I see those zombies flying at me, I lose it. And I just really had to stop playing at this point because I didn't want to, just kind of have a panic attack on my couch. So, but yeah, so that is Corpse Killer. That is definitely the greatest survival horror game of all time. And it was a trendsetter. They dared to do so many different innovative things with this game. Like, for example, using full motion video. I mean, everyone else, could have went the route of trying to develop elaborate 3D graphics with textures and different kinds of cool effects. These guys said, you know what? We don't need to be fancy. We'll just pull out a crappy camcorder and film some bad actors, and we'll translate it into a game. And, obviously it paid off. As you saw in the finished product, it was so good. And, they didn't really care that they couldn't really transcribe the full quality footage from their camera to the game. They said, you know what? Who cares if it's pixely? I mean, Nintendo games were pixely, and those are some of the most popular games of all time. And of course, this line of reasoning was completely true, and gave them massive success with this game. So much so, in fact, that these guys, as I told you last year, who also developed Slam City, are now some of the richest people on the planet. And no one even knows where they are anymore because they're actually so high above us that they actually control us in a secret hidden shadow government that no one really knows about. But anyway, Tom Zito is actually the world dictator behind the scenes. So that's why, obviously, when I talk about a game like this, I have to be honest and open and truthful about how good it is. And you might say to yourself, well, I want to experience Corpse Killer. I mean, if it's the best survival horror game, how can you get your hands on it? Well, you may notice that if you go to a website such as eBay, that there's probably several hundred people selling this game for less than $1. And you might say, well, wait a minute, Phil. Why would the game be so inexpensive and so readily available if it were so good? Wouldn't people, wouldn't they have bought them up at the time when the game was first produced? And the answer to that is no. No, it wasn't actually the fact that no one bought the game when it was new and that the manufacturer actually mass-produced it with the expectations that it would be a smash hit. That's not what happened. What's really happening is they want to make sure that everyone on the planet has the opportunity to play this outstanding game. So they intentionally made so many copies that they knew it would flood the market and you would be able to buy this game for an extremely reasonable price. I mean, I got this game, no lie, for 89 cents on eBay. So how outstanding is that? You too can experience this kind of quality, 89 cents, and then all you have to do is invest another $600 to buy a working Sega Genesis, Sega CD, and Sega 32X with all connections, with working power adapters, and with a working controller. So, what a steal. $600.89. That's all you have to spend. So yeah, again, I have to say, outstanding game. I'm glad that I had the chance to play it. It's just a shame that I can't play it any longer than I did because I just get so worked up because it is such a scary game. But that's the actual stamp of approval that this game is excellent, is that it does exactly what it intends to do. It entertains you, it scares the living Jesus out of you, and you have something to talk about with your friends the next day after if you played it. And not to say that it doesn't have its problems. Like I said, the controls are a little bit wonky, and there's pretty much no way that you could actually kill all the zombies on the screen without getting hit. And eventually you are going to die, and there's no way to avoid it because obviously there's no way to shoot everything, and so you can never really beat the game. But that's intentional. I mean, this game is so scary because you know that there's no way you're going to survive. And, having a wisecracking Rastafarian buddy and a kind of hot reporter chick who you can't really tell is hot because the graphics are so blurry, it just adds to the whole atmosphere that it's not only you that's going to die, but you're actually responsible for these other two people, so if you die, you are actually responsible for the deaths of 3, and it just makes the stakes even higher. So, alright, I think that's it. I think I've said pretty much everything I can say about this game with a straight face. And so, Corpse Killer, the best survival horror game of all time. I recommend that everyone run out there and get it. Again, it's only 89 cents on eBay, and you only need to make a $600 investment in actual hardware to play it for that high-quality skipping video and laggy controls in an unbeatable game. Definitely worth the investment. So, I'm DSP. I'll see you guys next year when I'm sure we'll talk about another one of the greatest games of all time. See you then.